Glad you're doing the deck profile.
Yo, here's Steven. What's up? We can just hop into the deck profile.
So I play Rescue Ace.
Or actually, my bad. You want to do any shout-outs before we hop in?
Yeah, sure. So shout out to the entire Council of Bina, which is the main test group, and then special shout outs to Nigel and Rayhan who got me on this deck because they're just screaming at me for weeks to play this deck. And then I tested it initially, I'm like, this deck is awful. Like, why would anyone play it? There's so many garnets. But after testing, it feels really good. The two main things are there's no real silver bullets for the deck. Like, you're not losing a deep air. There's any spells not a problem. Erads, sometimes it does enough, but more than not, these cards aren't just winning the game versus you, which is nice. So you get to play pretty much like every game. Shifter or Droll, same thing. And then the second thing is this deck's actually really good at going second. Like the engine pieces that you set off in Turbulence, like you don't really want to draw. Quick plays are fine, but the other monsters are just really good at breaking boards. And Link Climbing is just really good. And I think people really estimate how good this deck is at going second. So getting into the list.
40 card main deck?
41, because the last card I put in last second and I want to play 3 of it. So 3 Airlifter. Your main star of the deck, 1 card combo. If you open Hydrant with it, one of the 3 Hydrants, and have an engine heavy hand, you can always add HQ instead. It plays in a Droll harder, but if you just add Emergency, sometimes you just pass the Emergency. But if you have engine heavy hands, you can add HQ, get the extra summon on Hydrant, and then go into Struggle Lines. Also good at breaking boards because that. The other thing is this effect is if you opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you can tribute it, special summon 1 from your hand. While this card's in your hand or field, which seems kind of like niche, like summoning from hand isn't really that good in 2023, but it's good on your first turn, or on their first turn, because if you summon it off a Fire Engine and you hard draw the Preventer, you can summon the Preventer, and then that's a Book of Moon on their first turn, or you can summon it from your hand on the opponent's first turn. There's a game where, first match of the day, where I summoned it and I got Preventer and I opened Fire Engine, so I still had a Book of Moon against Cash on their first turn, so that was really good. 3 Impulse, I think there's a debate between people playing 1 and 3 of this, and I think it's nonsense to play less. You can side out less, sure, if you want to go first, but this is the best go second card arguably in the game. Like, it just gets you so much engine. So if your opponent activates the effect, you summon it, you tribute summon a machine, so you're generally summoning Fire Engine, and then Fire Engine will summon Airlifter when they special summon again, and then you add Rescue. And so what happens is you put 2 monsters on the board, first turn in the game, and you got back your card advantage. So you lose no card advantage, and I think people really fail to realize how hard it is to clear monsters in the first turn. Like, some decks can do it somewhat okay, but a lot of decks have trouble with that, and you can just start swinging over negates, and even if they have like 4 or 5 interruptions, if you're starting with bodies on the board, that's how you clear them. 2 Turbulence and then 2 Preventer, I think this is standard. This card's insane. One thing to keep in mind as well is a lot of times people will negate the effect of summon with whatever, and then you can always Phoenix discard it later to get a summon off that way. And then 1 Fire Attacker. This card's actually, I think, a lot worse than Fire Engine. Now I play the deck more, but there's still scenarios where you know that they're gonna clear your board, like if Cash opens up the field, so you can just add this, shuffle your hand up, and get whatever you need. So that's the engine. I think you should be playing max Airlifters. Yes, you want tech cards, but I don't think this is a tech card deck. If you want to play a tech card deck, play Cash. I think this deck is very good engine when you're playing. And then 3 Fenrir, good card in general. But the main thing is that it helps you recur advantage and have interruptions when you get hand trap. Ash is pretty much like the worst card for this deck. Nothing else is a big problem. But if you open Fenrir, Airlifter, and the Turbulence, it means that you have a way of linking off the Airlifter into the grave. So even if your emergency gets Ash, you still get the Turbulence, which seems niche, but it comes up. And I mean, Fenrir is just a good card in general. It does conflict with Impulse a bit, but you can choose it. You can still hold Impulse for your turn. 3 Ash, because it's, I think, the best card in the game, honestly, right now. And then you can loop it with Sunlight Wolf. I didn't play any other hand traps. I didn't really expect combo decks. I think they're kind of mid, and I side heavily for them. Spells, 3 Emergency, then I guess the other traps, and the HQ. I think you have to play HQ because it's just too good in the grind game, if I can find it. These cards are fine drawing second. Like, they're just a search and a special, so they're fine. These are ones you don't want to draw going second, but often you can Phoenix pitch it, or if you're going into a Fire Attacker line, you can discard it and then immediately set it off emergency. So there's still live turn 1. I mean, I'm not going to say they're good going second, but I said as you can think they are. You can just overwhelm people with them. One thing with Emergency to point out is a lot of times you should be chaining Emergency to your search effects. So if I'm going Hydrant, I'll chain Emergency to it because I need to know if it's getting Ash or not, because then it changes when I'm adding Turbulence or Preventer. Then consistency cards, 1 Rhoda, 1 for 1, 3 Prosperity, then 1 Call By, because Ash is a problem for this deck. I think I side out the 1 for 1 a lot. Going second because it's kind of a net card, but you still want consistency. It's also nice putting pieces in the grave because it lets you actually banish them. 3 book, and then rather than play 3 Eclipse, I decided to play 3 Econ.
Oh wow.
So I think people are kind of too focused on Pearly, because I think that's the only matchup that Econ is really worse than Eclipse. But against stuff like Unchanged and Chimera, the Eclipses are just awful. They do nothing. Even as cash, you still can get hand trapped to death, or you can get like rebooked and it feels bad. Econ is just better in every other matchup, especially when you put bodies immediately on the board during like your opponent's turn. They're always live, and it full breaks the Unchained board by itself because you just like bait the link, then take the Caesar, and then like you play through like 3 interruptions right there off 1 card. So I think this card's very good, and I think should be played more. It's also good because it lets you play around crossout, because everyone's on crossout and they're playing books, just, for the crossout, and then having different tech cards means you get rewarded for innovating. Extra deck, I didn't play the Firewall package. I played it last weekend when I went extra at Toronto. I think it's fine, but I like the toolbox. I think your end board's fine even without like a negate. And people aren't on a lot of breakers, so I think if you're getting that many extra spots and getting hand trapped, you're not making that board anyways, and so it's just better to play like smaller packages. So 1 All Mirage, you need this because sometimes you want to go into Wolf, so you need that instead of Link Rebo. Link Rebo, 1 Anima, this didn't come up today, it's cuttable, it's fine, it comes up sometimes. 1 Wolf, this is not negotiable. 1 Dark, and 1 Hida. This is how you climb a lot, especially going second because I'm not playing the Firewall package, so this still gets you access code just off Hydrant. 1 Phoenix, 1 IP, this is the main end board I go for. A lot of times it's Wolf pointing the IP, so you're still getting more value. 1 Unicorn, 1 Helio. This card's very good in this deck. It's just a free shuffle back. Yeah, it just requires 2 fires, so like can be with anything in the deck and just shuffles back. A back row, it can dodge tier cards which come up last weekend, and then it's just nice not having to pay the cost. So I never made this at all. Might cut, but it comes up because your 1 card line with Hydrant ends there. And then 1 access code, 1 Apollo. This is mainly going to IP. The other thing I played was 1 Bomber Dragon.
How did you like that?
I came up once today. I'm not sure if it's overkill right now or it's needed. It's just another interruption you can go instead of Apollo, because sometimes you don't want the interruptions. It's also good if your opponent goes first and makes a board. You can make this, clear their board on their turn and still have interruptions. And you have a lot of ways of trading, like rescue, emergency, all summon back. So you have ways of triggering this very easily. It may be cut going forward, but I think it's pretty good. The entire extra deck's just a toolbox of things, so it's whatever you feel comes up the most is what you should play. And the 1 Zeus because I play Econ. And then side deck. So this side deck was one of the most fun side decks I played, which seems weird because like I was talking earlier, you summon a lot of times on your opponent's turn, and so I wanted a way of like preventing them from clearing my monsters. So I had a board on like immediately when I started, and so the thought process was I'm just gonna summon more monsters. So my side deck is 13 monsters that summon themselves. So 3 Nib, 3 Italian Sea. These aren't like too spicy. Obviously, Nib's a really good card. Italian Sea is good against like Branded, Pearly, whatnot. And I think that's like not really that big a deal into the I'm summoning monsters. But I play 3 or 4 Bestials. Obviously, Bestials are really good. I signed them into Unchained, which I don't think is like super good against them. But again, you just overwhelm their board. Like I play against Unchained round 6, and I had 5 monsters on my board during his turn 1. And it just becomes impossible for them to deal with them all. And all these ones are not losing advantage. The impulse isn't losing advantage. So you're just getting bodies that they have to clear. And even if they clear them, they're generally going through hoops, they're losing follow-up, and it makes just the pass back easier. And just Bestials are good. And then the other card which no one's on right now is Phantasme. I think this card is insane. Again, it's just another card that you can summon on your opponent's turn. It's good in Unchained, good into their mirror match, good versus Math Mech, Salad. There's a lot of link decks in the meta. And especially with this deck, the engine is very good at going second, but you need the draw of the ghosts, like the actual good cards going second, and this just fixes the hand. You draw some of the cards you have off Turbulence, you can put them back. So I think this card is just really, really phenomenal right now, especially in this deck. Fixing the hands feels really good. Last 2 is just back row removal. So,
how did you like dropping the Terahertz package? Did you miss it today at all?
I didn't regret it at all. If the format becomes more breaker heavy, which I don't think it should right now, like there's still our combo decks in the meta, then it'll feel worse. But while it's a hand trap format, I think the diversity and just being able to go into half boards after you get hand trapped is better. I think at the end of the day, like this is like the extra deck is entire just toolbox. You can do whatever you want with it. You can play the 8 Firewall package, you play the 6 Firewall package. But I think if I go first with IP and set 4, like I think that's enough more than not to win the game. And so I don't need kind of that more win con. I just want more answers when breaking boards.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.